Welcome to another edition of From the Front Lines, where we discuss both the day-to-day and one-of-a-kind issues facing real estate managers. In this episode, IREM CEO Linda Caradine-Poinsett, PhD, MJ, MBA, talks to Kent Elliott, principal of RETS Associates, an executive search firm focused on the real estate industry, about the current state of hiring and retention in real estate management. Over to you, Linda.
Kent, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You know, economic uncertainty has prompted a lot of conversation about the workplace of the future. In other words, what employers want and expect from their employees. So I'd like to start our conversation first by asking you, how would you summarize the current state of hiring and retention in real estate management? Give us the big picture to start with.
Big picture. COVID 2020 hiring was very stagnant. 2021 through May 1st, 2022, it came back with a voracious appetite. In fact, in 23 years, I've never seen anything like it. We then had a capital market situation over the summer. People went on vacation and hiring slowed down quite a bit. It came back post Labor Day 2022 and came back very strong through Thanksgiving. Then we had another slowdown. Then we got to January of 2023. And this first quarter of 2023 hiring has once again been voracious. Lots of firms out there are hiring, and it's a great sign for the overall health of the industry.
Wow. Okay. So lots of moving parts that I heard in your response. So let me ask you specifically, what's going on in talent and retention in, let's say, each different property type? Can we drill down a little bit there?
The most active product types right now, and really over the last 12 years, continue to be industrial and multifamily. And we've seen with industrial a 12 to 13 year bull market in development. And as a result of that, industrial has really been the hottest sector over that last 13-year time period. I would put multifamily in the second slot, the silver slot, let's call it. Super active development over the last 10, 12 years, but some of it has started to peter off over the last couple of years. Now, one has to remember that a development for industrial could be 12 months, whereas with multifamily, it could be double that. So it takes a little bit longer to slow the growth engine there. Retail product has also been pretty strong. The reason for that is the vast majority of retail is broken in some capacity. Malls, there are 1,000 malls in the US, all 1,000 are broken. But with each of those malls, what every mall owner is looking to do is to add more bodies to a project. And a lot of that has to do with bringing in a different product type like multifamily or MOB to a mall to get more wallets and more eyeballs and more people walking around on a daily basis. So that's a quick summary of the product types and activity right now.
Okay. You know, as I was listening to you talk about the different property types, it got me to thinking about leadership skills and whether or not there will be different leadership skills required irrespective of the property type. So let's talk a little bit about that. Your firm does a lot of executive searches. With another unpredictable year ahead, what qualities are your clients currently looking for in good real estate management leaders?
This is an interesting question. And when our clients come to us, they want the sure thing. And when I say they want the sure thing, they say, hey, we want to hire a vice president of property management to oversee an office portfolio. So number one, we're going to go after candidates that have that right experience. It's straight down the fairway from what our clients are looking for. Second skill set they're looking for is the work ethic side. And in this day and age, it seems like, I don't want to say we're 24/7, but you have to be accessible and responsible and responsive and work hard. I think that's extremely important. Those are some of the intangibles. I think being inspiring to lead a team, to understand who your team is, what makes them click, I think that's important too. I go back to having a positive attitude. Nobody wants to be around a negative Nelly, but having a positive attitude and being kind, but that doesn't mean not having a backbone. Holding people accountable is important. And then the last thing is, I just want to caution audience members on this is the jumpiness factor. Employers look at that, and when they look at a resume and see somebody that's jumped jobs, jumped employers every 12 to 24 months and has had 8 jobs over the last 15 years, that can cause them to pause in considering that candidate for a future opportunity, because does the tiger change his or her stripes on a go-forward basis? Are they going to be with that employer long-term? Those are some of the qualities that our clients are looking for.
Right. I will tell you, as you were talking about some of the qualities, I was thinking about, you mentioned inspiration and being kind or leading with empathy was something that came to my mind. I'd like to talk about how you envision that working in an age of hybrid work. How are your clients onboarding new employees and keeping them engaged as they're more mobile, working off-site, and even working from home?
That question has come up and will continue to come up. And I tell you, one thing that immediately comes to mind is on the work from home topic, you don't want to be an outlier. You don't want to be an employer that says, be in the office 5 days a week. And you don't want to be a candidate that says, yeah, I'm interested in your job, but I really don't want to leave my house and I want to work from home 5 days a week. Both sides have to push the edges together and give each other some flexibility. And RETS has done a couple of surveys, and we found that between 50 and 55% of candidates will not consider a new career opportunity unless there's some part of a work from home component to it, which when you look at from an employer's perspective, if you go out to hire, and one thing that's always pretty shocking is unemployment in commercial property management is very low. And when I say that, if national unemployment is, let's say 3.5%, I would say unemployment in commercial property management is lower than that.
Mm.
If you're only looking at half of the market because you don't have a work from home component to what you can offer your employees, and unemployment is so low, the number of candidates that you're going to see and be able to consider is minuscule. And the candidates that you end up looking at, are they the best candidates, or are they simply the candidates that are available? That's something that employers need to look at.
Flexibility is probably part of everybody's conversation. How do we still run our businesses? How do we make sure that we're being as flexible as we possibly can without damaging the business, but also at the same time attracting the best talent that we possibly can? One of the additional questions that came to mind was, one of IREM's strategic goals is to bring more of the next generation into real estate management, including those in positions of leadership. So what trends are you seeing in hiring and retention when it comes to younger generation or the next generation of this profession?
There's a bit of a disconnect in the market, and that disconnect is really between employers and candidates. And candidates want to move along in their careers more quickly than employers may be willing to look at. And so if a candidate wants to move along quickly, they may be looking outside their current employer to find that next job opportunity. And the current employer knows that candidate better than the employer that's wooing that candidate. That employer that's wooing the candidate is really hiring that candidate based on potential and growth rather than what their current skill sets are. That's something that we see in the marketplace right now. In terms of the other side of that question of how do we attract younger talent to the industry, I think this is something that IREM and other associations and your members, employers of all sizes, have to be committed to. And whether it's a smaller property management firm in a single city or in a major international third-party real estate services firm, it's really incumbent upon those firms to bring younger talent into the industry and understanding that bringing talent into the industry is an investment in the future in the industry. You may hire one of those candidates straight out of college, or hire a candidate that's coming from the hospitality industry. It's an investment in the future. That candidate may be with you 1, 2, 3 years, but that's a way that I think that we can continue to add up and coming talented professionals to commercial property management in the future, is by each and every one of your employers making it a part of their annual hiring efforts to bring on younger people or career shifters into the industry.
Okay. Well, we got a little bit of work to do, those of us that are in decision-making roles when it comes to hiring. So I'd like to get your thoughts on, what do you anticipate for the future of hiring and retention in real estate management?
The employers that get and understand that there is a work from home component to the job, or flexibility to job, will be able to attract and retain talent on a go forward basis.
Okay.
Those that don't have that plan will be left behind. And when they go to hire, they will be faced with an even smaller pool of candidates to consider.
As you're talking, I have so many more questions, but I want to be respectful of your time. So one last question. You've been working in the real estate and executive search space for over 25 years. What keeps you in the field, and what do you enjoy most about helping companies find the talent they need to be successful?
What keeps me in the field is that my job and the job of each and every one of our 20 recruiters is never done. And what I mean by that is there are always new candidates for us to meet and get to know. And even when you feel you get to the point that you know everybody, which you can never do, then there's always staying in touch with those candidates that you've built relationships with over the last 1, 3, 5, or 20 years. And it's so rewarding when we come across a candidate or have a relationship with a candidate, and that candidate says, hey, I'm currently sitting in Seattle and my husband's family lives in Scottsdale and they're getting older and we need to move closer to them and they want to be closer to the grandkids. And we have an opportunity that's in Scottsdale and we end up moving that candidate for that opportunity. That's really rewarding, that we're able to provide an opportunity to a candidate who wants to make a big move and may not have been able to do that on their own. And then we have an employer that now has hired a fabulous candidate into a new position. So that's one thing that I love about my job, and what each and every one of our recruiters loves about their jobs.
Thank you, Kent. This was an invaluable discussion, what employers can do to evolve their talent management strategies to attract, hire, and retain talent. We do appreciate your time, Kent. Look forward to future conversations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Visit IREM.org for more knowledge to take on real estate management's most dynamic challenges. That's www.irem.org.